Welcome, everybody, to the Grueling Truth Weekly NFL Pickem Show, brought to you by Gridiron Mo. Make sure you check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Want to welcome in my co-host. First up, we'll go with Leon Searcy, who was undefeated on his picks last week.
Was I? See, I told you I saved my best for the playoffs, baby. 2-0.
All right, and of course, we've got the former Denver Bronco, Mark Cooper, who was also undefeated last week, I believe. How you doing tonight, Mark?
Good. You forgot to mention the only person on this call that's team's still in the hunt, baby.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are no longer in the hunt. Let's bring in last week's main loser, because I think me and Matt both ended up 0-2. But he takes tiebreakers on losing. So, everybody, welcome to the show, Matt Andrew Scavage.
Great intro again, Mike. You never fail to disappoint. Now, good games last week, and congrats, Mark, on your team getting to the Super Bowl.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, one good game.
Kissing Mark's ass, all right? Big deal. His team got to the Super Bowl like it's a big deal.
Let's not get the whining going too early because the Bengals are sitting on.
You've forgotten what that's like.
I was trying to stop the ass kissing. I thought you would be against ass kissing.
Oh. Hey, Mike,
if I don't congrats, then I'm a bully.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question?
I can't win.
Mike, can I ask a quick question real quick? Would you like mustard ketchup
Mark.
or hot
Go
sauce?
ahead and get on with the show. Go ahead, Mark.
Mustard, ketchup, or hot sauce with that crow?
No.
I'm not eating any crow. I don't eat crow.
Oh,
we just heard I was third last week. I wasn't last. That was Matt, so you'll have to talk to him about that.
Well, Matt's eating some crow, too, but Matt's always a lot nicer to me.
But we'll start off with Mark Cooper, since it sounds like he's going to be rather talkative tonight. Mark, you want to give us your point of view, your perspective on the AFC Championship game with the Broncos beating the New England Patriots?
All defense, baby. Knocking Brady down 23 times. You know, the bottom line is with the Broncos, that defense has been, early in the season they were tough, right? And I opened my mouth and was saying, Bears and Steelers and all the big defenses, and then they started getting hurt and beat up, and then you guys beat on me. But you know what? They've come around. They're healing up. If we can keep up, we got two DBs kind of beat up a little bit. The word on the street is they're both going to be able to play because they get a week off. Stewart and Talib, so I think we're going to be in good shape. So, if this defense can, we said every week, if this defense can keep playing like this, we got a shot at anything. As long as they, Peyton does his part and the offense brings it together, and we can create a little bit of a running game. So it's been a long year. It's been a tough year for the Broncos, comparatively speaking, offensively. But defensively, they're really bringing it together at the end of the season now, like, you would hope they would for the playoffs. So, any good quarterback, I mean, everybody in town says Brady's the best quarterback ever. Well, so you can see how you can neutralize a guy like that when you got a defense that swarms. Could have been probably 2 or 3 more sacks, but, I thought he was in the grasp a number of times and he, grounded the ball. But it wasn't a grounding call because he was in the pocket, so it wasn't a big deal. But, I mean, he was in the grasp a number of other times during that game, so the sack total could have been a lot higher. But it just shows you that, and he still could have almost pulled that game out. But shows what a great quarterback he is, but also shows, what a defense does to a great quarterback. So it was a fun game to watch. I don't know. I mean, I sat on the edge of my couch the entire time and enjoyed it. I mean, it was a fun game to watch because those two good football teams.
Now, with your age, sitting on the edge of the couch for 3 hours, is your back all right?
Of course. Come on, baby.
Okay, I'll just check it.
Oh, yeah.
If I sit up for any long period of time, I usually have to lay down because I get dizzy. Leon, my question to you is, we talked about the Broncos' defense, But the New England Patriots offensive line was absolutely horrible. You want to touch a little bit on the New England Patriots offensive line?
Yeah. From an offensive line perspective, that's what I usually watch. I'm usually watching the offensive line first, and then I watch the play. And I just saw that consistently on both games, the tackles, kicks, especially when you're on the road, when there's a crowd noise, you got to get out your stands. And the attack style defense that the Broncos had, the offensive line just gave up too many short angles to the quarterback, and that's the reason why Tom Brady got sacked so many times, got knocked down so many times. But that's the way you got to play the Patriots. You got to play bully ball. Wade Phillips does an outstanding job with getting pressured, the guys in front, giving them different looks because if Tom Brady's back there, like Mark alluded on, I mean, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Give him time, he's gonna decipher. He's gonna pick his poison. He's gonna make the goals. He's gonna get it to the receivers. And I think the Broncos did an outstanding job mixing up front, twisting game, getting guys upfield, getting pressure. With any quarterback, I don't care who you are, if you're getting pressure up the middle and you got guys coming off the end on the short end of the tackles, aren't getting their proper angles on their sets, you're going to get pressure. If you get Tom Brady back there tap dancing what he was doing most of the game, then you're going to have success with him. I've been very impressed with the Broncos' effort defensively. I knew Wade Phillips was a definite find for them. The way that he coordinates, he's always had success with defenses going way back to, I remember having to go up against his teams when he was in Buffalo. I mean, when you got Bruce Smith and Bryce Pop, I mean, you got those guys coming off the ends and the different little fronts that they give you. So he's the architect of confusion when it comes to being a coordinator. It was an outstanding game from start to finish with even the Broncos, as much success that they had in that game, getting hits on Brady's, they still had an opportunity to at least tie the game in the end. I just think the Broncos did an outstanding job sticking to their game plan. Still a little concerned that they don't have enough running game. Peyton Manning, he looked okay out there, but the defense is what won that game for them. So kudos to the Broncos defense in that game.
Yeah, so we touched there on the offensive line play, the Patriots, a little bit on the defense with Mark. Matt, what was your big takeaway from the game, and do you think that the Broncos have enough offensively to be able to win a Super Bowl?
Well, as I was watching the game, what I saw was obviously Denver's pass rush was outstanding. Von Miller, he showed why he is always a potential defensive player of the year. He's one of the best outside linebackers, probably more of a defensive end, but he just does great at everything. He wraps up well. He rushes the passer well. Obviously, they had the defense going, but on the offensive side of the ball, I really liked the way that they opened running lanes for C.J. Anderson, somewhat for Hillman. He hasn't been playing great as of late, but C.J. Anderson's really been coming on strong the last few weeks. So they were able to really get some run game going, and I thought they protected Manning fairly well. And the receivers really were going all out. You could tell they were basically going to catch. They caught almost everything that he threw up there, and I thought Owen Daniels did a really good job getting open, getting some offense going, getting some confidence for Peyton Manning because, he hasn't played well this year, but I thought he played pretty well against the Patriots. I was expecting an interception or something, the Patriots to pull out something late in the game, but it never happened. Now, as far as coming up, I don't know. I think they're going to have a tougher time with Carolina than they did against the Patriots, because the Panthers are a lot like the Broncos defensively, and so if that's the case, if both defenses play even, I think Newton's going to probably have the advantage. But if they can protect Manning and maybe get a turnover or something, give him a short field, you never know. Especially if they get the ground game going. But I do think points are going to be hard to come by.
All right, we go to the NFC Championship game, Leon. What was your takeaway there? Were the Cardinals and Carson Palmer just that bad, or were the Panthers that good, or a little bit of both?
Anytime you get to the conference championship game, you think that you've got the best two teams representing your conference. And Carolina made the Cardinals look like they didn't belong there. I mean, I don't know if it's that they're that good. They had constant pressure on Carson Palmer. He never felt comfortable in the pocket. 7 turnovers. It was like the Carolina Panthers were partying the whole game long. I mean, they could just do whatever they wanted to. Offensively, they could do whatever they wanted to do offensively. Defensively, they were just coming at you all kind of attack angles, getting pressure from defensive tackles, defensive ends, linebackers. It really looked like Seattle in blue, the way Carolina just picked apart the Cardinals. I've never seen a game like that where the team didn't look like they belonged. And I don't know if it had to do with preparation with the Cardinals. I can't imagine that being a conference championship game. I've never been in one where I didn't think I was fully prepared to play. Or was Carolina just that good? We got to remember now, Carolina has only lost 1 game in a year and a half. I mean, going way back to last year. I mean, this team won 8-9 straight last year. And then they roll into the season this year and go 15-1. So the team's no fluke. There's been comments made about the fact that they're front runners. They always get big, they always jump on the team about 14, 21 points, and then they coast it on in. And, I mean, that's not their fault. I mean, it's the other teams. They've got to score. They've got to put points on the board. And if that's the way they play football, then that's how you're going to have to beat them. But the Cardinals they just look outclassed, outcoached, and outplayed throughout that whole game. And Carolina's for real. And unfortunately for the Broncos, just 2 years ago, this is Seattle in blue. And we're just going to have to see, come Super Bowl Sunday if the Broncos can compete against this team. I think the Broncos are a lot tougher team. I think the team that lost to Seattle 2 years ago is better than this team that's going to the Super Bowl. But I think this team might be a little tough because the knock on the Broncos when they played Seattle, they got out tough, they got out punched, they got out hit. I don't think that's going to be the case going into this game, the Super Bowl game. But you're going to have to beat Carolina. They're locked and loaded. This team is for real, and they're going to be hard to beat come Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, and kind of the same question I asked you about the Patriots' offensive line, but we're going to switch it over to the Panthers. And, Mark, what was your takeaway from watching the Panthers' offensive line?
I guess I have to be honest with you. I haven't watched the Panthers a lot this year, but because of the division they were in, and they played 2 playoff teams all year. The Broncos played 6. That offensive line does a real nice job protecting Cam. Cam does. I mean, he's a 260-pound quarterback that runs read option, but nobody's ever hit him in the mouth. He's going to be treated like a running back as far as I'm concerned, and get hit every time. He tries to run read option. So that I think will be an interesting game plan because Wade Phillips, I mean, he's done such a heck of a job all year game planning, for the different offenses we've played, and that defense is so tough and fast. The one thing they do real well is do a lot of run blitzing, and that's I think what will be real interesting playing the Carolina Panthers for the Broncos. So they have a good offensive line, but I mean they haven't played against DeMarcus and Von Miller. I mean they haven't seen those guys. I mean the defensive front on the Broncos, if it's soft anywhere, would be up the middle, and but the linebackers stuff that thing so well that it'll be, like I said, it'll be real interesting to see what kind of run game Carolina puts up on the board to try and run against the Broncos defense. So I think it'll be a big defensive struggle. I don't think it's going to be a runaway. Arizona, I mean, playoff games, Leon, you and I have been in them, man. 1 turnover usually is determining. 2, is tough. 3, you're like, forget it. Now let's go 4, 5, 6, and 7. I mean, you're in a rat race now. Now you're just trying to figure out what in the hell you can do that you're not going to turn it over in, and what you're going to try and accomplish. I mean, that turns into a helter-skelter game. And we've been in those games where you just go, man, we shouldn't even have got out of bed today. It's this bad. And you're trying to turn around. You're in the game, and nothing's going right. And when you get in one of those games, sometimes it never turns around or goes right, and it's just a free-for-all, and you just can't wait to almost get out of it at some point in the fourth quarter. But you're still battling your ass off because you got a guy like Carson Palmer behind you, or we had Elway, or Leon. You had some great quarterbacks, and you always think, hey, if we can make something happen, we can make it happen again. And then when it doesn't happen, man, that's a very frustrating football game. But to turn the ball over again 7 times, you're just so far out of it at that point, that I don't think your game plan has any continuity to it anymore.
Yeah, and Matt, your takeaway from Arizona and Carolina.
Well, I agree with everything you guys have talked about with like Carson Palmer not being comfortable back there. He didn't look comfortable from the get-go, and I think Carolina was able to use that to their advantage. As that is what they do. They do real well at getting a really fast stop, a 3-and-out right to where they start the game, and then they find a way to get either a long touchdown or a long drive and get up on them. But the game started to slow down a little bit in the second quarter. Once Arizona got their first score, they were able to then get a stop. And I thought the turning point in the game was when Patrick Peterson fumbled that punt. Because if he fields that punt cleanly, they're at midfield. And they could potentially get that thing to 17-10 or 17-14. And that's where I really felt if they could get it close, then the defense, everything could settle down and they'd have a chance. But once he fumbled that ball, it just put Carolina right back in the driver's seat and gave them another chance to pull away, and that's exactly what they did. And it was just downhill from there. The interceptions, the fumbles. So I thought that was the turning point in the game. It's what Carolina does so well. I still think that if the Broncos can get offense going and get that kind of pressure, I do think Carolina is beatable. But if Carolina is able to do what they do, I mean, this could be, like you guys are talking about, another repeat performance Denver-Seattle. It could get that ugly.
I don't think Mark's talking like that, by the way. But I had a couple takeaways from it. I know that last week, Matt, you and Leon both said a little bit about the front runners with Carolina. And it's understandable that anybody would say that because of how many times they've had big leads and given them away. The thing that impressed me was on the biggest stage, this time they stepped onto people's throat and they didn't move their foot from it. I thought that was impressive. They didn't let up. And then the other question for you guys, whoever wants to chime in, I mean, is this it for Carson Palmer? Because as a Bengals fan, Carson Palmer, with or without a pass rush, has always looked uncomfortable in big games.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know what his desire is if he wants to play.
Okay, hold on. We'll let Matt go.
I thought we were chiming in. Sorry. I mean, he could. I think he can still play, but obviously, I guess it comes down to, does he still want to play, and what direction do the Cardinals want to go? Because they got some guys on that team they kind of brought in. They kind of put all their chips in the middle for this season. And it's like, I don't know if they're going to bring all the guys back, all the veterans. And is Palmer a part of their long-term future? Obviously not. I don't know if it depends on if he wants to play. I think he could probably play another season. I don't know if he'll have a year like this again, though.
Yeah, but Mark, if you're Bruce Arians, do you want to bring Carson Palmer back?
Well, you know what? Here's what we don't know, and I mentioned it last week before the game. Because I noticed it the week before. His index finger on a quarterback trying to throw the ball. I mean, if he got that beat up, banged up at all early getting sacked, I mean, to throw 4 interceptions like that, he still threw for 235 yards. He was 23 for 40, but threw 4 picks. So we don't. The thing we don't know is we don't know how bad his finger was. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was throwing very well. I saw a few passes, but I saw a few the week prior to that too. When you look at the Panthers, they ran for about 150 yards. the Patriots ran for, I think, 11 or 30. I mean, Brady was their leading rusher he ran for 13 yards. I think he's the leading rusher. So for the Panthers to run against the Broncos defense, like I said, that's going to be interesting and telltale. Now you got Greg Olsen, who caught 6 receptions for 113 yards. Is he Gronkowski? I don't think so, but he's damn good, but he's not Gronkowski. So I think we can cover him a lot better than we did Gronkowski. I think so. Corey Brown had 4 for 113, but they spread the ball around pretty well. But, can Talib and can we put our best guy on him? Yeah, I think so too. So when you start breaking it down man for man, and I know I kind of jumped across, from the Panthers, from Palmer to the Panthers, but, I'm just kind of analogizing some of the statistics that I saw. I just think Carson Palmer his finger was in worse shape than we thought it was, but that's just my, kind of guess based on 4 picks and 7 turnovers.
Yeah, I was just saying that I just thought, as a Bengals fan, I saw a lot of that for a decade.
Well, what was the fans' knock on Carson Palmer when he was with the Bengals? Was it that as the bigger the game? It seemed like the bigger the game.
In Cincinnati, he was soft.
Yeah, I was about to say that. He was soft. Because when I think about, I know that Mark, gave an assessment about the finger and the throwing, the motion, and everything like that, and throwing 4 picks. And, being a Steelers fan, and I'm not being a homer here, but I'm just thinking about Big Ben. The one thing about Big Ben that people always talk about is that Big Ben's he's a tough SOB. He's going to go out there, separate his shoulder. He's going to wield his team to keep them in the game. Some aspect of the game, he's going to keep his team in the game. I don't think Carson Palmer. I don't think he's a tough guy when it comes to the biggest stage. Your team is the championship game, whatever it may be. I can't see Big Ben doing what he did against the Panthers in that kind of game. And I was just wondering, I wanted to ask you, Mike, the knock on him is that the bigger the game, he seems to shrink. And there always seems to be an excuse why he doesn't show up. I just can't.
Yeah, there's always an excuse why he doesn't show up. And I can tell you this, Leon. I mean, I think the difference between Andy Dalton and Carson Palmer is Andy Dalton, no matter what you think of him as a quarterback, is a tough guy. And if you put Carson Palmer with the talent the Bengals had in 2011 and 2012, I think those are probably 6-10 teams with Carson.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
I mean, I
was just wondering. I mean, that's always been a knock on him, is that he wasn't tough, and then the bigger the games, he seems to shrink as the games get bigger. And I would reference. I'm referencing Big Ben. The thing on Big Ben, they say, Big Ben's going to show up if it's getting you to the Super Bowl, tore shoulder, index finger, whatever. I mean, he's not going to throw 4 picks in that game. That's just what I believe. So I was just wanting to know from you, I mean, being a Bengals fan, what was the knock on him while he was there?
Yeah, that's always been a knock on him, that he was soft, and when stuff got tough, he kind of shrunk up. And that's why, I know, Mark, you make a good point with the finger. I'm just telling you from what I saw watching him for a long time. You go back to the Bengals-Jets playoff game in 2009, I believe it was. The Bengals had the lead 14-7. And then the Jets start blitzing him, and Carson starts throwing the ball to the other team, and all hell breaks loose. And the other thing about Palmer is when things go bad, if you ever watch him on the sideline when things go bad,
his body language is horrible.
On the bench with his head down. Yeah, his body language does not lead a team. Yeah, Russell Wilson the week before, they were down just as bad at the start, if not worse. But Russell Wilson's walking around, I don't know if you see the NFL films thing, telling everybody constantly, all he said for the next 3 quarters was, this is going to be the greatest comeback ever. And, it's one of them things where if you hear it so much, you start to believe it after a while. I guarantee you this, when the film of this comes out, if they've got Carson Palmer mic'd, I guarantee you he never once walked up to anybody and said, we're not out of this yet. Because that's not Carson Palmer.
Yeah, that's a loser.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Palmer, his leadership is what was always questioned. I mean, he's not a guy, it's like Boomer Esiason. Not a huge Boomer Esiason fan, but Boomer Esiason wasn't a great quarterback. He was a great field general. I mean, he would throw the ball erratic all over the place. But Boomer Esiason was the kind of guy, he was tough as hell. and he would do anything he could to try to help his team win so those players would follow him. I think that's the thing Carson Palmer lacks.
It looked to me also
and you
like
can't teach that either.
Decision-making.
What was that?
I thought his decision-making was really questionable. Like, I thought he was really pushing, trying to fit balls in, in double teams and
he was doing that in the Green Bay game. He's across the field throw from the Green Bay being in the championship game. I mean, that game against Green Bay, his decision making was questionable. A couple of tight windows. I'm asking myself, what is he doing? The one interception he threw in the end zone, the one in the red zone, and like I said, listen, he's across the field throw from Green Bay being in the championship game. So I mean, all playoff long, he's had some questionable throw, and this championship game, those passes just bit him in the ass. Carolina's too good of a defense to try to fit balls in windows like that. So he got exposed.
It just looked like he was really forcing them in there for no reason. He just didn't have to do that. And, it looked to me like it didn't matter if it was the finger or not. It looked like he was bent on making a decision like this. And even if he had a good finger,
had nothing to do with
it was going to happen. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
The decisions had nothing to do with the finger. I mean, he played really bad 2 playoff games, which makes, 3 playoff games he's played really bad. And the other one, I mean, maybe it goes back to the Bengals-Steelers playoff game where he gets hit below the knees. And, that was the best throw he ever made in the playoffs. He hit Chris Henry on a 65-yard pass, the first play of the game down to the 3, and then it was all downhill after the injury. I don't necessarily say – I don't know if it's gun shy or not, but, I mean, the one thing about him also is when he's got pressure coming in his face, you never see him sit down and step into the throw like Big Ben will.
No.
He'll kind of pull up a little bit on his front foot and to try to – it looks like he's bracing for a hit, where Roethlisberger could care less. He just wants to make the play. And the same thing with Brady. I mean, Brady looked like a crash test dummy in Denver. But he hung in there, and they actually had a chance to win the game. And I still think at 20-12 with 6.5 minutes left on a 4th and 6, I don't know why they just didn't kick the field goal.
I was blown away by that.
It's hard to get a 2-point it's hard to get a 2-point conversion.
Right.
Yeah, especially in Denver against that crowd, too. That was that, like we had talked about, that 12th man I'd mentioned.
It's a lot easier to stop a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, a 2-point conversion in that spot is at best a 50-50 shot, where Gostkowski, I know he missed a kick earlier, but he doesn't miss many, is probably 85% from that range that he's going to make that kick.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, I guess we'll come back, have the NFL Pickem Show next week. I'm sure Mark Cooper will want to be here so he can tell us how the Denver Broncos are the greatest team that ever lived by next week. Correct, Mark?
Oh, it's just so much fun to know the Bengals are sitting at home.
Why is that fun?
Because of all the squawking you did all year. Oh, my God, are you forgetting?
I didn't do any squawking. I did the same squawking you did, and we all know this. We all know this. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are the 2 best teams in the AFC, if they're healthy. Come on, let's face it. You barely beat the Bengals with a backup quarterback who's not very good, and you barely beat Pittsburgh with Antonio Brown out. Plus,
we dropped
Peyton
8 balls. They dropped 8 balls.
Peyton Manning slides down. Hey, Peyton Manning slides to the ground, gets up and completes a pass. I'm pretty sure that's not legal.
Of course it is.
Can I get a name in there, Leon?
Remember the score of the 28th, December 28th?
I got to get an amen on that.
You remember that?
The 2017
win over the
where
Bengals?
A backup quarterback shredded the greatest defense ever for a half?
And then the Broncos, then Leon, you remember January 17th when the Steelers lost. Come on, guys. I know those
without
are
Antonio
Brown.
Brown.
That's okay.
Yeah. And without their running backs. But that's all right, because there's always next year when Brock Osweiler or 100-year-old Peyton Manning will lead you to the promised land.
Well, I don't know. You know. I'll tell you what. Let me ask you guys, okay? Because that's been a big topic. I do a Monday show here in town. Okay, so what do you see win or lose, does Denver do with Peyton Manning? What do you guys see? Or what are you hearing out there? Everybody in town
I think
thinks
the way he's played, and just from the way Elway was being interviewed last week, the way he talked, I think this is Manning's last game in Denver.
Yeah, I think so too.
I gotta agree. I
think this
can't
is
see how he's coming back.
Win or lose.
You got Brock Osweiler. I think they're just going to go with Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
And isn't
that's
there
a talking
cap
town too. I just didn't know.
That?
You guys see it. We're all over the country. I mean, with Matt's on the West Coast, San Francisco. Right? Where are you at? Oregon or San Francisco? Matt.
No, Matt's in Wisconsin. He just acts like a 49ers fan to make his stat match.
Okay, Wisconsin. So, okay, everybody's kind of used to me. But anyway, no, I just was curious if you guys were hearing the same stuff we were hearing out here, because often you hear different on the East Coast a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are they saying out there?
Not heard. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. It's just what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Let's face it, every year the last 3 years, he's gotten a little bit worse. Which he's gotten a little bit older. It's normal. It happens to everybody.
Yep. Yeah, he's 39. That's tough.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been injured pretty much the last 3 years since he came back from the neck injury.
Really,
and I mean, we all know that our bodies don't regenerate too well as we get older.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
What do you think they should do with him, Mark?
Yeah.
I don't think you have a choice. I mean, with the amount of money, I think he's 12-6 to the cap this year. And you've got an offensive line that you're going to have to pay. Sambrilo will be healed up. Clady will be healed up. You got two great offensive linemen right there. Schofield goes back to a reserve, if not being gone. They do something with Mathis, and they firm up that front line. But they're going to have to pay the defense. I mean, you got some guys, Vaughn and a number of other guys. You keep that defense together, and you could have another chance at a Super Bowl run next year, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they can get away with it with Brock, with a defense, if they hold that defense together.
We figured you would think that. I think next year it'll be the Bengals and the Steelers in the championship game. I think Leon can agree with that, right?
Yeah, if we can stay healthy, yeah. If we don't meet each other in the playoffs, we got a shot.
I mean, if we could stop playing each other in the regular season, that's where all our injuries come from, is against each other.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got, that's a great rivalry, though. I mean, think about it, though. That was never the rivalry that it is today, and that's the game.
It was
that's like
in the early to mid-'70s.
That's like a Pittsburgh Ravens game. They're not like they were, but you get Cincinnati Steelers, man, that's a game you watch the whole game because something crazy is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the Bengals Steelers from 72 to 77 was like that, because the Bengals had some really good teams. It's just the Steelers had great teams, and it was usually the Steelers beating the Bengals at the end of the season and knocked the Bengals out of the playoffs. You went to the 80s, though. The 80s, the Bengals were dominant. The Steelers only won 3 or 4 games during the 80s. And then, of course, we know what happened to the Bengals in the 90s, which was next to nothing. I think they beat the Steelers 3 or 4 times in that decade. So, I mean, I think it's always been it hasn't been a rivalry because it's been one-sided one way or the other until the last 5 or 6 years.
I only lost to him once when I was a Steeler, so that was a Thursday night game y'all looked up on. Well, when I was there, it was Steelers Browns under Belichick. Belichick. When in the early '90s, it was the Steelers Browns. Bengals were always, because they were in the division, but it was still a Brown. I mean, we had some tough battles, especially at the dog pound. But we didn't. The Bengals only lost to them once, so you can't consider that a rivalry in the '90s. Can you, Mike?
Okay, Leon, be quiet. All right. Hey, real quick before we wrap the show up, we got to check our commercials from SteelbergBox.com, which Leon Dennis, the guy that owns Steelberg Box, said he sent you a box.
I got a box. Beautiful box.
I saw the picture.
I took a picture online, tweeted it. I got all kind of good stuff. Got some Steelers shades, glasses, dice, plate, emblem, terrible towel. I'm going to send you that terrible towel.
Good, because the other day I needed it too. Sunday I was watching the championship games, and I ate some chicken wings. I had to take a dump really bad. And I'll tell you, there's no worse feeling in the world than to go in, sit down, or get ready to take a dump. And then I look under the thing here, the sink, and there's no toilet paper. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do now? So if I would have had a terrible towel, I could have wiped my ass on it, and it would have been perfect.
But you couldn't use it because it was all wet and soaked from Leon crying in it the week before.
No.
I'm starting to like you more every day, Mark. Actually, it would have made it like a baby wiped in, and it would have been nicer on my butt.
It's all good.
But
AJ McCarron soft?
Huh?
No, Carson Palmer's soft. AJ McCarron's not soft. He's just not very good. Carson Palmer's soft. But so check out SteelbergBox.com because Leon says it's good, and you get a terrible towel. Yeah. So also check out Absolute Action Boxing Association. They got fights Friday night at the BB&T Arena, Northern Kentucky University. We get a commercial for that. And, of course, Gridiron Mo, as always. Make sure you check out Gridiron Mo, www.gridironmo.com. We'll be back right after this.
Boxing is back. January 29th at the BB&T Arena on the campus of Northern Kentucky University. Absolute Action Boxing Association brings you Boxing's Best. Come out Friday night, January 29th for a great night of professional boxing. Scheduled to compete, local talent Micah Real Deal Branch, Aaron Hollis, and going for his first professional title, Robert Boom Boom James. Just minutes from downtown Cincinnati. Boxing's Best brought to you by Absolute Action Boxing Association at the BB&T Arena on the campus of Northern Kentucky University. For tickets, go to Ticketmaster, the walk-up box office, or call 859-442-2652. 859-442-2652. Like, share, and follow us on Facebook at Absolute Action Boxing Association.
I'd like to tell you about our new website, www.steelbergbox.com. A monthly fan box service built to take a fan's passion for the Pittsburgh Steelers to a whole new level. Offering 3 different fan boxes to choose from and several different plans, fans are guaranteed to get way more value in their box than they paid. It's simple. Drop by www.steelbergbox.com. Choose the category and size: men, women, youths, and infants. Then, pick one of our 3 Steelers merchandise fan boxes. After you choose your fan box, hit subscribe. Then choose your monthly plan. You're done. Go Steelers.
This is former All-Pro Leon Searcy. I've got a new interactive app called Gridiron Mo, where you get to call the plays, offense or defense, and a live NFL game. You get to interact with other fans, pick the play, pick the call. That's Gridiron Mo.
All right, we're back with the NFL Pickem Show. We're not picking a game this week. We're saving that for next week. Leon, you got any final thoughts?
I know we're not picking the game. I just want a good Super Bowl, to be quite honest with you. Last year's Super Bowl was special. Came down to a 1-yarder. I just don't want to see Super Bowl that I saw two years ago with the Broncos getting dismantled by Seattle. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, this Carolina team looks a lot like the Seattle team that the Broncos are going to be facing come Super Bowl Sunday in San Francisco. Big mobile quarterback, opportunistic defense, put pressure on the quarterback. I do think the Broncos are a lot tougher than they were going into the game 2 years ago. But what I like to see, I don't think it's going to happen. I would like to see the Broncos jump on top of Carolina because the whole talk about Carolina is that they only play well when they're winning. I want them to put an end to that. Maybe they put them through a little adversity and see what happens. So I'm just going to save my pick for next week, but I just want a good Super Bowl 2 weeks from now.
All right, Mark?
Well, since we're not picking, obviously, we knew who I'm going to pick anyway. It's not going to be a surprise, but
yeah, since you're a homer.
The week, you get you get a week to just have a lot of fun with this thing, and I think the fans will have a lot of fun. You know, I plan on having a lot of fun. Denver's a great town to be in for that this week. I mean, there's a lot of you guys will see me tweeting out cartoons. There's a guy, Drew Litton. You guys will enjoy some of his stuff, and obviously he's a homer, but he has some really good cartoons, and I'll be tweeting and Facebooking those out. And we'll have a lot of fun this week and going into that game. I think, you know, speculating and talking about the different players and seeing who's healthy. And, you know, it's really just, you know, a fun Super Bowl week. And back in the day, we had that extra week before we played in 21. And, you know, that comes in handy. Like I said, it's good for the fans. It's good for the game. And it just really gets everybody's juices flowing and gets them ready for a good game.
Well, Mark, you want to tell everybody where they can follow you at Twitter at?
Oh, yeah, MS Cooper 63. Pretty easy to find. You know, and Twitter it's easy to find people. So, yeah, check that out. And, you know, jumping on Facebook, you can just drop Mark Cooper in there, and you'll see, you know, plenty of the stuff I do. You guys, I mean, I love the cartoon stuff because it just, you know, picture says is worth 1,000 words. And, you know, it's worth a giggle, too. So we'll have a lot of fun with that this week and next week going into the game. Well,
me and Leon are grown men, so we don't really get into cartoons, but I know a lot of you out there will. And Leon, you're at Leon Searcy-73? 72?
72, at Leon Searcy-72. And Mark, the schedule's out, too. Just I hope you check that out.
You know, I saw it. I didn't get a chance to pull it up today, but
I
need to get you introduced to Mark Rick down there sometime.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. We got at Notre Dame.
Awesome.
All right,
Matt. Throw that in, Mike.
Well, I think I feel the same way Leon does. I'm looking forward. I really want to see a good game. I want to see, you know, basically like a New England-Denver game, really tight. Wouldn't mind seeing Panthers go through a little adversity. I mean, you know, see if Cam can shake all that criticism off. See if you know, Peyton Manning can silence all his doubters. You never know. You know, anything can happen in a game like that. So that's the kind of thing I'm hoping for. But all in all, I'm sure we won't be tuning into the Pro Bowl. I'm kind of hoping one day they just either scrap that or just do something totally different. But
hey, I like the Pro Bowl. Go ahead.
That's just because you got a free trip to Hawaii. You don't want the Pro Bowl.
I know you liked it when you were playing,
no,
but you like it now?
I don't know. It's horrible. It's horrible. You're right. You're absolutely right. They should abolish it. It's terrible.
Yeah, I think they should give everybody the honors.
They've just ruined it. And they had this year's 133 players bowed out or something crazy?
Yeah, I think Teddy Bridgewater's a quarterback in the Pro Bowl now.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor is.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod Taylor. Leave Tyrod Taylor alone.
It's become meaningless.
I like him too, but really?
Well, you've got Roethlisberger and Dalton are both too hurt to play, and Tom Brady's probably too hurt to play after what the Denver Broncos did to him Sunday.
So they just
as long as we don't get down.
So they just.
As long as we don't get down to where Brian Hoyer's the quarterback in the Pro Bowl, we're all right.
Hell, that matters well. Hell, they're giving out Pro Bowl credits like that. Well, everybody gets a token.
Back in the day, Leon, were you excited to go to the Pro Bowl, even if it wouldn't have been in Hawaii?
It wasn't but one, but hell yeah, I earned my Pro Bowl. Hell, all them offensive linemen I had to get back. When the older guys, I couldn't get in because of seniority. They were outstanding players, and then when my turn came about, then the Basellis and the Ogdens and the Walter Joneses come along, and hell, I had to earn my Pro Bowl. Especially playing the right tackle. Most of the tackle positions go to left guys who play left tackle. So I enjoyed my Pro Bowl. I ain't make the one, but hell, they're just giving out Pro Bowl passes now, huh? Everybody gets a pass.
Everybody can make it.
Without being injured, Leon, you'd have made it to more than one.
Well, yeah, I was the first alternate like 5 years in a row, but everybody wanted to go Hawaii then. Hell, and nobody took nobody canceled out on me. Hell. So
you definitely would have went to 5 Pro Bowls now.
Hell, I was the first alternate for 5 of them, but all the linemen wanted to go. Hell, it was Hawaii. Nobody dipped out on Hawaii. Shit.
Yeah, but now they make enough money they can just go on their own. They don't have to worry about getting hit.
There you go.
They can buy Hawaii.
Exactly.
What's that mean, Mark?
Means they make enough money to buy Hawaii.
Oh, okay. I thought you said find Hawaii. I didn't know you said buy.
No, buy, purchase.
Buy, purchase. All right. You talking to a Bengal fan, sometimes I'm a little slow.
I know. We've been kind of trying to hold you up all year.
I know. But, I still have, like, flashbacks to watching Super Bowl 23. I mean, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I just want to drive to Wisconsin and beat the hell out of Matt because of it.
One day, Mike, we need to rewatch that together.
I've never watched that game, and I never will, because it was obviously fixed.
Oh, there we go.
Well, it wasn't like Super Bowl 40, Leon, but yeah. All right. So make sure you check us out next week on the Pickem Show for Super Bowl 50. You can also check out our shows at Grueling Truth Facebook page. Check us out on Spreaker, Stitcher. We've got a special guest for the boxing show tomorrow night. We've got Orlando Canizales, who defended the Bantamweight Championship of the world 18 times and is in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So make sure you check that out. I think we will have a show next week on the top 10 Super Bowls, me and Matt of all time. Leon, Mark, if you want to get in on that one, we can. Maybe we can talk about Super Bowl 21 or Super Bowl 30. I just figured I'd throw that in there. I had to do something to Mark because, he's been right the last couple of weeks and my team's dead, so I got to take any pot shot I can. So make sure you check out our main sponsor, Gridiron Mo, at www.gridironmo.com, steelbergbox.com, or www.steelbergbox.com. So for Mark Cooper, Leon Searcy, Matt Andruscavage, I'm Mike Goodpasser. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.